What's up, everybody? Happy 4th of July to everybody, even though it was like, yesterday, but still. We're working on some stuff in the garage, as always. We're working on getting some retraction calibration done on the Voron, and then we're working on printing out recorder parts for production, and then logging failures as we see them. And I had a pretty good one actually pop up because I was here in the garage watching it, where I had some parts start to delaminate from the bed, which really sucks, but it happens. And so luckily I could do some of the error recovery and just cancel this section of parts, which happened at layer 432 because of a collision. And I don't know why there was a collision, but there was a collision on the back of the part. And I think it's just because it didn't retract enough, and that little bit of filament knocked the one part off of its brim, which then caused two or the others to delaminate, and then in printing it caused the others to delaminate, and so this section of 6 parts right here failed during the print. It's been a consistent issue that I've been running into, and I'm trying to figure out exactly why. There's a point where there's a retraction issue that then causes the failure. And so it's been kind of frustrating, because that's wasted material. And I hate wasting material. So I might run some more debugging on the bamboos to get this fixed, but not right now. Basically the same thing that I'm doing on the ender wire over here is looking at retraction to make sure I get the retraction dialed in just so. And so it looks like I'm having retraction issues on the X1 carbons at the same time. I'm going to see if the other bamboo is going to fill. It's past layer 432. It's on layer 433 with no issue so far. I don't know, maybe that one will make it all the way through. Alright. And so the reason why I'm running the retraction on the Voron is I was getting these lines as it's doing its adjustment. I think it's over extruding just a small amount of material every time it's doing a layer height shift. And so we're going to try to remove that out of the equation. Because it's pretty noticeable in some of the areas. It still plays, but it's noticeable. So you want to reduce or remove that noise from the prints, and it's congruent between the two. It's a very raised section, and that's just because during its layer height it's got that extra bit of material that is spurting out. And so hopefully we can get that dialed in. we had a pretty good fourth. And then tomorrow we're going to the beach. That'll be exciting. So our retraction tower test does show that, pull up the docs on it and take a look. Saving overrides. Let's go to the documentation. Junk in my sinuses is just crushing me. And it's because of the dryness and the heat that we got going on in California right now. All right. So we need to go into length. We'll set the 0.8. I'm going to kick this down so it's like if we look at our tower, our best results for our tower is actually going to be the second, maybe third one up. So 0.2. So setting override, check the length option and the retraction settings and put your new best value. Click on the save icon next to the edge. So we're going to save that. Alright, so let's go to setting override 0.2, retract on layer change. So we're going to check that, and then we're going to run it again. Pop this guy off. Alright, tips for successful retraction tower, upper picture settings, normal Z hot tide. Scares me when I hear a pop. That means that there was to, we'll close that out. We got that saved. We're going to go to the printer settings, and we're going to go to our extruder Z-hop type. So Z-hop type we need to have normal. Okay. Retract on layer change, proper retracting. Fine, okay, close it out, slice, print, upload and print, and check it again. So now I've got a print. How many? Two and two. Just don't understand why it prints fine when I do just those and not the others. Let's jump over to Studio. Preview. Okay, let's see how well this one does. And these are the non-threaded variations of them as well. And I think tomorrow what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to taking the hot ends apart and then attaching the, well, putting together my last one of the E3D high flow nozzles. So I've got one more that I got to build. And then install the E3D high flows into my bamboos again. We'll continue to work on it. And that works running a little slow tonight. Which is fine. So network's fine. pop it again. Yeah, you can see on the tower there where you have all that stringing that's going on in between it because of the retraction. And we're going to try to reduce that stringing down and get this thing dialed in to the T, and then hopefully reduce those errors. So I might end up doing the using the Vorons to do all the ukulele components while I have the bamboos running the recorder components. It's pretty cool getting this deep into the weeds on it though. I gotta really start nickel and diming down to getting the nonprofit ready to launch. I have that as a personal goal. I really need to do it. Both for personal and professional reasons, because I've told myself I will. I gotta find a filament grinder so I can grind up some filament. But there is one thing that really was interesting, and I'm waiting for bamboo number 1 to finish up so I can get into showcasing kind of what happened. Because it's interesting, there was a part that failed early on. And even though the part failed early on, it was able to recover and completely bridge it. In fact, I need to take a picture of it because it's kind of crazy that it was able to bridge it and then continue printing the part, even though there was a ton of spaghetti stringing that did happen. Oh, there's delamination right there. Pause, pause. Alright, so I just had it happen. This is at layer 459. So now we're going to selectively remove those 2 parts, and hopefully we can save the remainder of these. Alright, so we canceled those 2 parts. And then, again, it looks like there was a collision between the hot-end assembly and the mouthpiece, which caused the error. So I just don't know if it's just not running enough retraction in order to mitigate those failures. just frustrating to get 92% into a print and then have a critical failure. And granted, these are all vertically printed parts, but I almost want to see if I can like start running them and then just do single parts in ludicrous speed mode. I gotta figure out what's going on with this M106 error on the Voron. Or it could be just the buildup that I have on the hot end. I am noticing that right now, but that should be knocked off during wiping, and so I don't know if it's just not wiping enough. You can see that little booger sticking off the hot end assembly right there as it's going through its like calibration process for flow. And again, that would be a retraction issue, that the retraction's not happening enough. But I would think that during this process we'd be catching that retraction during calibration, but it's not. Looks like we got some excess string that's dragging off of there. Because it's not going to go back into a wipe, so we're going to pause it. I'm going to force it to wipe. Let's force you to wipe. Did not pick up those parts. So it may be that I need to replace my nozzle wipers. Yeah, I don't know. You see a gigantic booger hanging off the top. Right off the nozzle. Maybe it is time to replace the nozzle wipers. nozzle shouldn't be blaringly white. There is that little bit of material that is hanging there, but it does look like it's not going to affect it. I don't know. Take a look at it, but it's kind of an ugly first layer down. Watch the bamboo do its thing. I think tomorrow we're going to do computer upgrades from the drafting computer over here. We're going to upgrade the processor. We're going to upgrade the memory. Maybe do some upgrades to the solid state drive. I don't know quite yet. I've got my other computer over there hooked up, so let's take a look. So yeah, I would say that we are having ineffective nozzle wiping. It still has that gunk on there, but what's interesting is that gunk is not where that gunk is built up at. Is not where the collisions are happening. At least to my knowledge, it's not happening. Because the gunk's built up on the, looking at it, the left side of the nozzle, where all the collisions are on the right side of the nozzle. You know, we'll let it run, we'll see what happens. Now you can see that nozzle gunk build up. Let's see if we can get it. Pause. Yes, I think I may just have ineffective nozzle wiping. I think that's my primary culprit right now, is just ineffective nozzle wiping. So we're going to go ahead and stop this print. Yes. Force layer defect, submit and close. Alright. I'm going to try to fix this. When we look at this, this first layer. This first layer has tons of minor defects already pre-baked into it. So we're going to ramp the temperature back up to 25, okay. So ramp the temperature on the hot end. Get rid of all that junk. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and go back to home, actually home, file, internal, print. See how it goes now after giving that nozzle a little bit of cleanup action. And we'll take a look at number 2. I mean number 1. Seems like there's still just a little bit of material oozing out from that kit, even right now. It looks like it's depositing it on that side when it's going through and it starts doing its nozzle cleaning, because it's already like deposited a little bit of that material on there already. And look at it, it's depositing it. It's like, come on. Why is it when it's doing its nozzle cleaning, is it depositing that junk? this is done, and yep, looks gross. Wire brushes, you can never have enough of them. So yeah, it's basically the same. You're gonna leave the retraction kind of where it's at. Oh, release. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to adjust those retraction settings for the Voron. So now we have those retraction settings adjusted for the Voron. Let's see. Junk still is on there. Oh. No, granted, I don't know if it's the junk that's making it run into it, but I think it's going to be a retraction issue with that. That gunk is just getting locked onto the nozzle. And you can see it, like after cleaning it, it just built right back up. So we're going to let it ride on this one and see how well it performs. Okay, 1:03 in the morning. I think it might be because that nozzle wiper's at like a slight cant. You see kind of like a slight cant over there. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Alright, so let's go back to Oracle Slicer. That's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to prep. So we're going to project. No, don't want to save that one. I don't remember which one it was now. Open. Yep, there it is. Alright. So let's try with this. And so now that we have the new retraction values saved, we're going to check on those right now. So we go setting override. It didn't save the settings. Awesome. Transfer. So setting overrides. 2. Retract on layer change. save. Okay. Close. Alright, so we're going to take a look at how well this is going to look. And we're only going to run like the first 20 layers or so, and then we'll judge from there. So we'll go ahead and slice it. We'll see how this looks. And I did change one other thing, which was the quality for the aligned, and I did the scarf joint seam. So we'll see how this one goes. 2 hours and 22 minutes though. I don't know. We may have to adjust that back. Again, the internal network seems like it's lagging a little bit. Yeah, well, so these were off the bamboo, so we're going to take a look at some of these real quick. Gotta find out where I put my deburring knife. It's around here somewhere, I just don't remember where I put the darn thing. These with one of these. Those are all really loose fitting. Yeah, I got too much air escaping. I'll have to glue one of these and test it. And these test ones, they will not be getting shipped out to people. Alright, so let me grab these ones off. So here's one of the latest batches. As you can see, I had a failure here, there's some stringing here, so it looks like I'm just having retraction issues, but what's most interesting is this part right here. So this one had one of its other ones right next to it that was printing, and it failed, but it was able to actually pick it up and then finish it with relative success, minus this little nubbins that are happening here. And luckily those will post-process out just fine, so this part can be saved with minor blemishing, but it was able to print in mid-air and kind of finish, which is really kind of crazy. Well, there's a couple other issues that we had, but yeah, it's just like, I don't know why there's a collision on these. You know, it looks like a collision point for these to get to actually snap off happened right there. And so that's the collision point that caused this part to fail. Why did it have that collision? And it's upsetting because, you know, that's just nothing but material loss at this point. And we don't want the material loss. I hate material loss. Material loss. It's no juju. bad juju even. I mean, well, after cleaning the nozzle, I mean, that first layer does look quite a bit better. The nozzle for Bamboo 1 still looks really darn clean. I don't know, maybe I'll just reduce the number down, because it seems like the more that I try to pack in, the higher the propensity for fail is, and I think it's just because of the retraction as it's going back and forth between these different units. That's odd. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Reminds me, I gotta get the trash cans taken out of the curb. When is that? Could be tomorrow night. I don't know. Or tonight and tomorrow night? One of the two. Alright. So what we are gonna do is, the latest ones we had printed out, these are non-threaded versions, so the tolerances on them are gross. And it's crazy changing between material types, because changing between material types, even though it's polylactic acid and it's all from the same manufacturer, the blue responds differently than the white, which responds differently to the others. So we'll get some of these things dialed in for the actual models. Not bad though. I mean, I just gotta work on them. Not drop parts on the ground. Gotta go out rolling underneath the tables. I have to amend the G code here in a little bit. The M106 command is the issue that I'm running into right now, and the M106 is supposed to turn on the part cooling fan, which it does not, so I got to manually turn that on right now. I'll get the printer config established. I love watching 3D printers go. It's really cool. I love watching CNC machines run. I love watching 3D printers run. I enjoy all of it. See how these vertical lines come out now. All right. Okay, so for this guy, I want to go back to running threaded values. I really do. So let's go back over to OBS Studio. So that's for running a batch. Let's close this one out. No. Discard. What the heck? That's weird. That's kind of crazy looking. It shows that this camera went way off kilter. But it didn't go way off kilter? That was super crazy disorienting. And it's still moving. Why are you moving? should not be moving. Am I crazy, or is anybody else seeing that the camera is still panning and moving? And nobody is touching it. It's super weird. Now I just did like a crazy maneuver again. Sorry, I messed with the camera right now. That's what I want you looking at. So, are you doing something crazy? I'm actually looking at the screen on the camera now to make sure that the camera's not doing anything weird. Yeah, it still seems to be panning. It still seems to be panning. I don't know why it is panning. It's not panning though. It's like it's physically stabilized and physically located, but it is adjusting on its own. How crazy is that? Oh, there. It just did another shift. I'm getting some fishbowl action. It should not be in widescreen mode for one. Nope. That was weird. So what I'm physically seeing on the camera itself versus what's actually showing up on the screen does not make sense whatsoever. So I'm going to kill that feed. So one of my cameras is actually really, really goofy. So we're going to stop it. So let's get that feed started over again. That was weird. That was really disorienting while watching it do that, whatever it was doing there. Prep. Okay, so let's go over to camera control software. Alright, camera's restarted. Refresh. There we go. That was super weird. Alright. Okay. What was I doing? I was going to start another threaded model. I'm going to go with the screw fit type threaded. No. Arrange these. Slice. So we're having some retraction issues still, is what it looks like. There's like 3 of me moving right now. And I may adjust these models just to add a little bit more material to them, and then reduce some of the waste, because it seems like there may be a little bit of retraction issue and infill issue, which may be causing it. I don't know. It's 1:28 in the morning. I should probably get to bed here soon. Let's go back into Orca Slicer and check that one thing real quick. So Bamboo Studio, over to Orca into prep to none. Because what's being printed right now is not feasible, I can tell you that. There's too much strain internally and externally. Let's go ahead and cancel this right quick. Cancel that. Let's go ahead and raise this up 25. And send the band out. Alright. Yeah, so what was being printed is not feasible. And our Z line is, our seam line is really noticeable on a cant. We've got all this excess stringing, so I'm just going to go ahead and call that one a wash. Come on. You see there's a ton of stringing going on internal and external, so I was adjusting a couple different settings to see if we can make the seam lines disappear, but we actually introduced quite a few errors as it was doing its pull and travel. So, and the factory set for the retraction was 0.8, and we dropped it down to 0.2 because that's what the retraction test was telling us was the best. So we may have to go back through and rerun a retraction test just to be sure. And so we changed the alignment. So we went back to aligned, joint seam. Follow the preview where those are going to be at. Hope that's not going to be an issue. We'll see here in a second. And maybe it's that I just do need to reduce this down to like a 0.16 layer height instead of 0.2. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. we're exploring. And so we're going to restart that print, removing some of those little bit of offset settings, whatnot. And hopefully this will be a little bit better. Alright, back to the bamboo. Threaded values. I'm actually going to try this real quick for the strength. And we're going to bump it up to 5 wall loops. And see how this goes. And that's going to mitigate any, hopefully that'll mitigate any infill that we have. So we're going to take this down. So we got infill there, which is fine. I'm not worried about the infill there. We'll see how this one does. So 2 hours and 1 minute. Print. And for this we're going to run here, enable MS, and we're going to send this to machine 1. I think maybe some of these issues are just that I'm going to have too much heat trapped inside the units for the bamboos, and not enough heat trapped on the Voron. I don't know. Yeah, 1:35 in the morning right now. Playing with pincers. Let me get the CNC machine back down. I need to start doing some more CNC work. I'm doing too much 3D printing and not enough CNC. Oh, I gotta work assembly on a bunch of these recorders. I think one of the other things I need to do is I just need to start rolling everything over to bamboo material, because the threaded units with the bamboo material has performed honestly the best, and if it's going to reduce headaches in the long run, start running with bamboo material. I did pick up a 5 kilo spool of the our Matter Hackers build in white, which has proved to be pretty successful so far. I think everything kind of gets down to slicer settings and settings for everything else. And maybe the updates to some of the hot end assemblies replacing the nozzle wiper is going to play a factor as well. tell you, with some of the bamboo material, they just thread better. I don't know how else to describe it. It just threads better. It's just I can't get bamboos in bulk spools. So I'd like to use the material that I have at my immediate disposal in large quantity for the lowest cost. And right now that looks like 5 kilo spools of our Matter Hackers build series. So I can get one of those with my employee perks per month. And I like keeping costs low. At least as low as I can keep them, that is. .141 in the morning. Just a little bit of time left. Sit down for a minute. have an issue with my big toe on my right foot. I always have problems with my right foot. I don't know why. And it's like an ingrown hair, and it's just like been bugging me. Not an ingrown hair, but an ingrown toenail. So I'm trying to relieve some of the pressure on it right now. I think I'm just going to glue a bunch of Neosporin into that area, and hopefully that'll help. I don't know. Epsom salt soak or something. I still got some pretty bad stringing. You know, it's better than it did last time, but still. I need to bump that retraction back up. Or we'll just let it ride and see how it looks as a finished product. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to let these prints go, and then we'll catch up with you guys a little bit later on. Anyway, from Nick with the Late Nightly Garage with yours truly, we're going to go ahead and cut the feed, and we'll catch you later on.